called Filmation, a focus on She-Ra panel. To the left of me, a talent that Filmation never saw, starting with Erica Scheimer.
Nothing like a little bit of nepotism.
Mr. Larry DiTilio. Tom Cito. And last but not least, Francis Moss. Okay, so obviously this is the She-Ra panel, so I'll start with Larry DiTilio.
Hello.
Are you ready?
I am ready.
He's ready.
I am ready, yes.
Okay, so I'll start with something interesting, because for years I thought Mattel were the sole kind of creators of She-Ra. But that's not true.
Well, no, they're not. They're not the sole creators of He-Man either.
No.
Excuse me, but yeah, we wrote the stories. Yes, I did most of the work. I was handed She-Ra when Mattel asked us to do the show.
Yeah.
I think we felt we had gone as far as we could go with He-Man. I think we just wanted to.
After Roby, we had to look for them.
Yeah. We just wanted to go a different direction, and they wanted to go. I wanted the girl toy division to step up, because I think they found that a lot of women also liked He-Man, probably because of the female warriors in it and the female villains in it, and so they said, well, let's do a show that's for ladies. Now that included lots of hair play. On the figure lines, there were no weapons, there were hair accessories and stuff. Because they said girls like hair play, but not hair play. My kid used to cut the hair off the body. Don't do that. That's a $75 movie. And I developed the show, and my goal in developing the show was similar to He-Man and had ties with He-Man, but was not the same show as He-Man was. So what I did was say, okay, what have we got on He-Man, and let's do the exact opposite on She-Ra. And the first thing to do there was Skeletor was out of it. We had new villains. They were originally supposed to be, I think everybody knows, they were supposed to be, the Horde was going to be the new villains. And they were space-faring, industrial race. That was quite different, the more fantasy-oriented thing. So we were half going in that same kind of like nebulous science fiction fantasy as He-Man science fiction and fantasy. Well, a Wind Raider is not exactly fantasy unless it's got a magic engine, but I assume it's got a real engine because it was always being shot down. Magic plane wouldn't be shot down. Wonder Woman's plane is never shot down. The other thing was that, and I mentioned this on the He-Man panel, is that He-Man was not very proactive. He-Man would only go into action when Skeletor, at least in a lot of the first episodes, I called it the Skeletor syndrome. I said, look, every story is Skeletor's doing this, so He-Man has to go there and stop it. Right? I said, I don't want that for She-Ra. I want She-Ra to be the proactive character. So to do that, not be the authority as He-Man is on Eternia. He's part of the authority and the establishment of Eternia. He's the prince, really. He's the prince to the king. I don't know why nobody knows he's the Princess He-Man. It's the tail. Like, look, Larry, the Superman thing. Why can't they ever tell Clark Kent is Superman? Well, so I said, well, if we really want to, and then Star Wars was coming out at that time, and I said, well, I can steal the Great Rebellion whole from that, which I did. I did. I stole the Great Rebellion whole from Star Wars because I said, listen, it's working. And then the thing is, when I saw the drawings and the models and stuff for the Horde, I said, well, they're very industrial. I said, so now I've got a theme for the show, which is nature and magic versus technology and industry. Polluted skies like we have here, or rolling hills in Italy where there's no smog. I was going to the rolling hills in Italy where there was no smog, and that's what She-Ra represented to me. And then there was, of course, the fact that she couldn't use the sword as a sword. It could become hair play. Use it as a hair play thing. She could probably use it to poke somebody in the eye, but we had her. We said, wouldn't it be great if the sword could be anything? And she'd just say, sword, tail glass, and whatever you wanted to make it. And it meant in writing the shows you had to be a little more clever because you couldn't just whack away with this like He-Man did. You'd have to turn it into something. That was the whole thing. Also, animal empathy was a big part of that show. Again, female animals empathy. It's all like healing powers that she had. All that. She was a healer, and she wasn't a killer. She wasn't really going to kill anything. That's why we had a lot of robots for her.
Yeah.
Because you have to have some action as well, And Hordak and his crew were they were kind of a step above Skeletor because they were heavy firepower, and that was really a hard, hideous place, the Horde's mucky swamp city there, and that started the whole thing. I'll make the longer story short, and later I'll tell you something about a She-Ra movie I was approached about, and I'll tell you a sad story about that. Right now, that was what I did. Once I had my theme, I was off and running. Then we could use the other female characters that were in the show. Okay, they had silly names. Castaspella was the worst. And yet, I love the magician, so I use Castaspella. And it's also very, very hard for actors to say Castaspella because it's got syllables in it, and they're always making mistakes. So we usually just call it Casta, and that was a nice name. So Castaspella became her. Froster was good. Glimmer, they stayed Queen Ella, the whole gang, and then Swifty. Who was the voice voiced by Lou Schreiber, father of Erica Schreiber.
Thought of everything he knows.
And he was an integral part of the show, like Cringer was for He-Man and was for Swift. Swiftling was actually much better. I'd rather have a flying horse than a big cat to ride, because a big cat's going to eat you. So. Yeah. If you're going to have a wilderness with Battle Cat, you're in trouble.
Just jump in, but I remember with Battle Cat, we were talking before about, he would speak every once in a while, they'd give lines, and Lou would do the voice. And I remember in the storyboard department, we were constantly trying to give Battle Cats more lines because, like the tag, we wanted to screw up Lou's voice. Because it's a lot of work going, well, kids, remember to leave the windows open in your car with your cat when you go in the store.
I was writing Castaspella with an Italian accent until some... No, Castaspella.
Castaspella. Come fa?
Much better in Bright Moon than it is in Grayskull.
So that was the through the line on the show. And the other thing, I wanted to build a whole world, and I did. I built Etheria, and I wanted to be very different from Eternia, which it was. And of course, we did have crossovers. Everybody was going there at one time. It was like a tourist spot. It's horrible stuff. But that's how we started it. And I'll tell you more as you go.
Yeah, sure. I was going to go to Erica next.
Sure.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Were you responsible for casting on She-Ra?
Yes, I was. I was very much. I literally started Filmation the week that He-Man aired, and that was such a big success that Dad's like, okay, you know what? We gotta register. We gotta give the girls something, and you gay boys, we've gotta give you something. It's really important. And Dad's like, okay, you take care of the auditions. You take care of that. And I actually. Y'all probably remember Linda Gary from Love Linda, Yes, from Heaven. Really, really fantastic lady. But you bring and they say, you know what? Gotta have somebody different.
Yeah.
And I really almost came to fisticuffs with my father because he wanted Linda Gary, and Linda, I think the world of her. But She-Ra needed to be something different. And I found Melindy Britt, and I fought like hell, and it was the best thing I did.
Yes,
and,
absolutely.
And I have to tell you, she brought something to the role. she just brought something to the role that was really special, and I'm just so proud of that. And I'm so psyched that she came here today. I just spent a few minutes with her, and she's blown away by it all. So she's a very shy, quiet person, and this is just blowing her away. So it's just really wonderful. You guys are the best fans ever, and you just made Shira really happy.
I'm going to go to Moss at the end now. I'm not leaving you out, Tom.
No, that's okay.
How did you become involved in Shira? Like, when did you first hear about it?
Oh, that was, yeah, I was just telling Larry about the story today. Shira was actually my first animation writing job. I had started writing some live action, Buck Rogers, and then the writer's strike hit. And writers with long years of credits were out beating the bushes when the strike was over, so me with my little measly 2 credits, it was very hard to find work. Larry was on a writer's guild panel. I think it was about alternative forms of writing or something like that, you know.
That's what we used to do during the strike.
After and Larry was talking about animation. So after the panel was over, one of them spoke to him about it. He said, "Well, I'm working at this company called Filmation out in Reseda. Come on over." And I did, and the rest, as they say, is history, at least mine. So I was very lucky because I had no idea about this whole industrial versus natural underpinnings of the show, but the first couple of shows I pitched were all about Agent Orange, you know, and the other one was about, you know, like South American miners or West Virginia miners. So it fit right into the zeitgeist Filmation and Shira at that time. So I was very lucky, and I got on staff.
Oh, cool. Okay, I'll go. Tom Zito, are you ready?
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, I mean, I was storyboarding a lot on the show, and I also got some of my first direction on that program. And I started with The Red Knight. I think it's the first one I directed. I did about 6 or 7 of them. It was fun and everything. You know, I was still comparatively young compared to the fun part about Filmation is that there was such a spread of people. There were so many different, so much different background, and so we had like a lot of young animators and a lot of young artists, and then we had like old guys from like Fleischers and from Brothers and Disney's, and remember like Jack Ozark was like this wonderful Jack, but he was an animator on Gulliver's Travels and Popeye and stuff, and he would come up to you and go, "Yeah, you're doing okay. Fine, don't worry about it." It's like okay. And then one thing I remember was that we used to have Shira did a lot of like fighting and running and jumping and stuff, and the head of our cleanup department, meaning the assistant animators are the people who follow the animators and make all the drawings and clean and make sure she has the same locks of hair and stuff and things don't jiggle. And anyway,
they still jiggle.
Until I said,
one of my big disappointments.
That's one thing. Yeah. We have some budgets that are not supposed to jiggle. So anyway, but the
budget for jiggling.
Yeah. But the fun part with Dory was that the head, like the co-head of the department, Dory Herrick. She teaches down at Woodbury University, and she was very she was very women's rights and very I want to say like ultra feminist, whatever. But one of the things that she said that her goal in life was, no matter how Shira ran or jumped, that damn little skirt never flipped up. She'd like jump off buildings and she'd wrestle octopi and whatever, and that skirt never went up in any kind of immodest way. And there was this one animator. There was a freelancer in New York, and he had like he had like 9 kids or something like that, and they were doing this one. I think it was like House of Spirit, the Cave of Spirits. It was like Shira's fighting these like ghost images that she can't hit, whatever. And the ghost, the models kind of look like Skeletor's head with a little tail. Yeah. So it looked like a sperm or something. It was just very strange looking and everything. Yeah, but anyway, they yeah, it's very strange. Yeah. But the thing is that so they swirling around her, she's punching and everything, and then the animator made one of them turn and just burrow itself in her skirt, and it was just like, and Dory Fitz said, no. I said, it looks funny to me. No, that's out. Okay, yeah, you're right. We don't want to do that. So we want to rock young people's minds. But there was a bunch of stuff like that was fun, there was like, usually you try to cultivate a lot of the younger animators who were like hot to trot, wanted to do like more full animation. Like on the He-Man show I was animating on it, they would give me hard scenes to do, like He-Man punching his way through a wall and smashing.
You animated the brilliant Death of Evil Seed.
Oh yeah, Evil Seed. Yeah, I did all the Seed stuff. Yeah, that was me. So, I wanted to do all that kind of stuff. So then when I was a director, I kind of thought about the folks who wanted to do more full animation, and then the guys who were sort of like past their prime and just wanted to, get their footage for their check. You give them simpler scenes. And I remember there was an old Disney animator named Hoffman, who's passed away now, and but Dick would stand over me, and he knew what I was doing because I was giving him very easy footage. And he goes, "Come on, Tom, give me some good stuff. I was animating when you were in a glint in your old man's eye." And I said, "Okay." And he goes, "Did you ever see a Disney movie, Make Mine Music?" And I go, "Yeah. Remember the Willie the Whale sequence?" I go, "Yeah, it's a beautiful sequence. I cried at the end." He says, "Well, when the professor is shooting the harpoon at Willie, animated the cable." That's a really good cable. It's just like, okay. And then Ed Friedman was the older director. Eddie was a sweet. Eddie lived to God bless him, lived to 94.
And he was in the LA Olympics in 1980.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
yeah.
He used to call himself a Jewish Olympian. He used to say,
An oxymoron if I ever heard one.
But he was so funny because when you're timing out animation, you have these exposure sheets, which is the log of how everything's going to be photographed, and the more notes you put on it, or instructions you give to the animators, and older animators like Chuck Johnson will put a lot of notes on there for the animators. So I'm like going through all these scenes and doing all this for himself, and Eddie would stand in my doorway, and here's a man with like 55 years experience, and he would look and go, "Directing, that's easy. Scene's 3 feet," which means like 2 seconds. It's like, and the weird thing is that Eddie's shows didn't look any different. Better or worse, they work just as fine as all of us killing ourselves on all this stuff. And but he just had this like sort of 55 years of wisdom, that he would give to like older director and baby director and all. So he was a sweetie.
I just want to go back to you, Tom. Just one thing I always found interesting is like the latter half of season 2 of He-Man and most of She-Ra, the storyboard department kind of exploded into writers and directors like yourself, and I just wondered kind of what kind of prompted.
I don't know. I just the way the crew was assembled. We got a lot of very good people. There was a lot of strong people that came onto the storyboard crew. And like for me, like I'd been an animator, and this was my they gave me a chance on storyboard because I had storyboarded before. And Bob Arkwright is the head of it and everything, and Bob was a great guy. And then we wound up with a number of good people. Barry Caldwell, who later was excellent, for Alvin and the Chipmunks, and they were sort of like really, really strong people. And and the scripts were fun. They were great fun to do. And she mentioned, does Trzcinski work on?
Yeah.
The guy who created Babylon 5,
and one of the things though that was different when Dad sold He-Man, it was the first time that he was able to employ the studio year-round, and that was always my dad's goal. And once that happened, and then we got She-Ra on top of that, and all these He-Mans too, it's like, man, we got a lot of work. We gotta get more people. We gotta get these young people into other things. So that really pushed the envelope, open up all these other areas, and